up, everybody?
Hey.
We're here at ROH Best in the World. About 10 minutes out from the show time. Really excited. Very pumped.
Super excited. I mean, look at this
look at this.
setup. Look at the ring. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, we hit the merch.
Ringside, baby.
Yeah, baby, front row, living it big, Hollywood. You know, we hit the merch table, picked up my Jay Lethal injection.
I got a little Planet Peacock action.
You know, got a chance to meet with Jay Lethal, chat with him a little bit. It was super cool.
I'll show you the photos later.
Yeah, it's really good. So far, the match I'm looking forward to most tonight, obviously the world champion between Jay Lethal, Jay Briscoe. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be a barn burner. The roof is going to blow off of this place.
And we are ready. In 10 minutes, we go live, baby. But for now, back to you, Mick and Courtney, on the couch at home in the future. Thank you, Past Mick, for that wonderful introduction. Well, welcome to Tandem Fandom. And here we are on the couch.
On the couch, coming down from the energy of last night. Kind of this morning. We got home at about 2.
Yeah, it was absolutely some of the best wrestling we've ever seen live. Amazing show.
Yeah, just high energy, start to finish. Even before the start, we had a little pre-show action at 8:30 with Cauliflower Chase Brown versus Donovan Dijak.
Yes, Dijak. With Prince Nana.
Yeah, as his manager. He almost stole the show.
Yeah, Nana was excellent. Cauliflower Chase Brown was excellent as well. He's a local wrestler to the Charlotte area. Super impressive.
Yeah, our first time seeing him, I didn't know that he was a wrestler. I'm pretty sure I actually had a class with him at Winthrop.
Yeah, it's
but
I think that's the first thing you said. You're like, I think I know
that guy.
Yeah,
so that was cool.
He was fantastic though. The cauliflower was over. Big time, you know, he did a spot, well, you guys didn't see it, but they basically, he comes out with the cauliflower, and there was a point in the match, and of course, you're wondering the whole time, is the cauliflower going to come into play?
Because it stayed in the ring the whole time. First chant of the night was, cauliflower! So, good crowd.
Yeah, it was a super hot crowd. That was a great match. He hits the big cauliflower spot. It explodes.
It exploded.
Yeah.
What more could you ask for?
It was fantastic. And Donovan Dijak, super impressive. He is basically Scott Hall. Like, looking at the guy, I was like, has he watched nothing but Scott Hall tape consistently for several years? Because just so many things about him felt like Scott Hall. Just the way he moved, talked.
The whole time Nana was talking, he was like pantomiming behind him. Just being real sassy heel. I loved it.
Yeah, it was great, but it was a nice dark match to kind of get the crowd riled up, which it did. It was a nice solid match.
Most definitely. My heart goes out to the ring crew for having to clean all the cauliflower out of the ring before 9 o'clock. They were sweeping their little hearts out.
And we were laying in on the guy sweeping. Sweep, 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 sweep. You know, there was a nice chant for that. Want to give some really big props, though, to Cauliflower Chase Brown. Really impressed by him. Like to see him again in the future at a PWX show. I think that'd be great. Enjoyed his work. Yeah, keep on keeping on, brother.
The love to the local boys.
Absolutely. So the show kicked off with Kyle O'Reilly against a new
Kamitachi
of New Japan.
Yeah.
And man, this was a bust-ass match. Like this.
Right?
This was.
They were all busted. I'm exhausted.
Yeah, as am I. I mean, we were both.
It was just
wiped out.
Such high energy throughout the night, and you know these guys opening the show brought it.
Yeah, and I mean Kyle O'Reilly, I think this guy is, when he goes out, he's consistently good. He's consistently stealing the show, and I don't want this to sound disrespectful, but it's going to. I certainly don't mean it that way. But I think you look at a Kyle O'Reilly match, and then you looked at Bobby Fish's match later in the evening, and I kind of questioned, why is Bobby Fish the TV champion and Kyle isn't? I don't mean that as disrespect to Bobby Fish. I love Bobby Fish a lot. But I think when you look at like what Bobby Fish does and compared to what Kyle does, it's very similar in the way their styles are, but Kyle just lays it in. He's very vicious. Bobby definitely has more character. He's more personalities, a little better on the mic, I think. But from a ring work perspective, which Ring of Honor definitely values a little bit more, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Man, Kyle just has it. You know, he's got this intensity about him.
Absolutely.
You know, he works that strong style really, really well.
Yeah.
I could see Kyle getting a opportunity as a, you know, kind of a junior heavyweight champion in New Japan. I could really see that run happen for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great. You know, just another great match by Kyle. He has so much great chemistry and just groove with a lot of the New Japan guys.
Right. Well, you know, like you said, he has such a strong style. Go figure that he can work with these other guys that just really bring the intensity to the moves.
Absolutely. The one last thing I want to say about this match. Kyle, to me, shared a lot of similarity with Jay Briscoe did in the main event, because I think when you looked at Kyle's eyes, there is a belief in what he's doing. There's this intensity and this belief of, this is real.
Yeah.
You know, we know it's a show, we know it's a work, but in that moment, Kyle, it's real for him. And Jay Briscoe has the exact same intensity and just...
Yeah.
He believes everything that is happening right then, and that's a key to making a successful wrestler. But
yes,
awesome match. It was a great way to kick off the show,
and not losing any momentum for sure. It turned into ACH versus Silas Young. Bless you.
Thank you.
Silas coming out first. You know, the last real man.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, not like a Rick Rude real man.
Well,
but like you know, Punch's real man.
Yeah, it was. You know, this I think was a great match to showcase ACH, because, again, ACH is a phenomenal talent from an in-ring perspective.
Yes.
But I think this is one of the first times that they have given him a great storyline to help develop him.
Yeah.
You know, because Silas has really been attacking kind of who ACH is as a person. You know, he is a fan of anime and video games, and so that kind of... You're not a real... It was just great.
That young nerd culture, new era.
Exactly. Something that is really popular and permeates with a lot of pro wrestling fans. I mean, we, I think, are a prime example of that, considering our show is revolved around wrestling, video games, and comic books. So it was a lot of meat.
Which really put Silas over as a heel for the modern crowd.
Absolutely.
Because and he worked it too. Everybody was like, boo. It was great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. A lot of really great spots. Silas's ass kept coming out of his trunks.
Unfortunately, there were a few pull your pants up.
Yeah, it was... he might need to get some new trunks.
They were looking a little weak. They were looking a little weak.
But ACH, you know...
Bringing the high spots.
Absolutely.
He came out dressed as Luffy from One Piece.
Yeah.
The hat and the shirt and everything. And you know, most of his gear, if you look at his shirts, very Dragon Ball Z oriented. So he lives this gimmick, but it's really just himself turned up to 11, which is some of the best gimmicks.
Absolutely. I think if you look across the board in professional wrestling, when you take aspects of yourself and crank it up, or take aspects of yourself and incorporate it into what you do as a wrestler, it's great because you believe it. It's part of who you are, and the crowd picks up on that and can embrace that
comfort you have.
Yeah, you know, he doesn't have to worry about, like, I have never seen an episode of Dragon Ball Z and I've got this shirt. No, because he is a fan, so it's something that he can embrace and he can get behind of, because he would probably buy a shirt like that if he were observing a wrestler in that situation.
It's about being comfortable in your own skin.
Exactly, which he definitely is. It was a great match. Lot of cool. It was a little different, you know. Typically, you see ACH against a lot of other guys who are on an equal level of athleticism.
Right, similarly skilled.
And this was a little different. I mean, Silas did have a couple cool spots where he hits the ropes and he does the flip. I mean, that was really cool.
That was really cool.
But it was a different style of opponent.
Yeah, clash of styles. Some of the greatest stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. Which... Again, this next match, which was Mark Briscoe and Roderick Strong, this to me kind of embodied the Ring of Honor style of match, where it's this combination of, you know, a mix of everything. You've got your high spots, you've got a little bit of your strong style, the, you know, distinct Ring of Honor style characters of their wrestlers. They're real people,
Right.
but they're wrestlers. And this was a great match. And apparently Mark Briscoe and I are best friends now, which I'm okay with. I like Mark a lot.
Yeah, one of the best things about ROH is the interactions with the crowds that the wrestlers
Absolutely.
have. And this guy got singled out. He was a mark for Mark.
Apparently we're best friends. Roddy comes out, and he got a really nice, warm reception.
Yeah, this being, his last run with ROH.
Yeah, for now, which they keep
now.
saying, which I'm like, where's he I mean, okay.
The
But
door's never closed.
yeah, absolutely. But he was getting a warm reception. But Mark comes out, and he's interacting with the crowd, and where we were sitting, we were kind of in the corner of just, if it was like this, we were in the corner of it. And Mark comes over, and he's slapping hands, and he's grabs mine, and I thought he was just going to slap and go away.
But we had, some of the ring hands had chairs set up, and 2 of the chairs were in our corner.
Yeah.
So he steps up he grabs his hand and pushes down, steps up on the chair, and he's like, he's lifting him up like.
I felt like I was holding a chicken farming Simba to the sky.
And he's using him to balance himself and work to the crowd, and everybody's looking at him like he's the chosen one.
It was a lot of pressure because I was sitting there, and I think it was about halfway through, because I didn't lax on my grip or anything, and Mark wasn't holding for dear life, but it was very brotherly,
A very symbiotic, beautiful moment in life.
It was,
and I'm there with the camera like, oh shit.
It was very much like the scene in Predator where Dylan and Dutch, you son of a bitch, and it was just this
powerful connection of men.
Of men and strength and love, and I realized in that moment, if I let go or relax my grip,
he falls forward.
Because he would have.
He totally would.
I would have been responsible for killing Mark Briscoe, or at least severely injuring Mark Briscoe. So I just held on, and when he finished, he comes down and he comes in and he kind of gives me a hug and pat my arm. He's like, "Yeah, brother," and walked off. Very cool moment. It didn't end though. There was another moment.
Yeah, the match goes on. Him and Roddy are just laying into each other.
Bust ass match, as Stone Cold would say.
Outside of the ring, inside of the ring, and what he was going for the.
He was hitting the classic Cactus Jack elbow off the apron spot, which it's well documented on the channel. I love Mick Foley. I love Cactus Jack. I'm a big WCW fan, so I loved Cactus's run in WCW. And Mark goes to do the spot. He gets the bang bang. Of course,
he's on the corner of the apron opposite us, so he's coming towards us because Roddy's in between him and us.
And I was very excited.
Yeah, and Roddy ducks it, so his momentum carries him right to his Mick's face again, and
he looks at me and he goes, "It's okay, baby, it's okay." And I'm like,
what
is going on?
And he just turns around and goes back to fight Roddy. He was almost apologizing to him for not hitting the elbow.
And in retrospect, looking back at it, I think it's because I had to have had an incredible look of disappointment that it didn't happen, because I think I was standing there like this. So I think he was comforting me don't worry, I'm gonna hit that elbow, it's gonna happen. No, it's okay, baby, it's okay.
It's okay.
And at that moment I'm like, am I the third Briscoe brother now?
Is it the beard?
Am I a member of Dim Boys now? Do I need to become a chicken farmer? I don't know the first thing about farming. Do I have to look into this? Is this something that... But admittedly, it was a very, very cool moment.
And that's the joys of going to a live show is, you don't always get the surreal connection, but when you do, it's just so much more fun.
I was 8 years old
and
in that crowd again.
The perimeter around us, all the people around us, they were like, "Oh wow, that was awesome!"
Yeah.
Because when you're with a good crowd, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
When something special happens to somebody.
It was really cool because I felt like everyone was able to live in that moment with me, as opposed to looking at it and being pissed and being like, I wish Mark had done that.
Right.
No, it was everybody was just like, that was so cool. And it really was cool.
And we've had the other side of the coin at some WWE live shows where people are like, ew, snark.
Yeah.
And like when we actually had John Cena stop with us and take a picture.
Yeah.
And the guy next to us, who was being an asshole throughout the entire show.
Yeah.
And actually being really rude to John during his match.
And had his child with him, who was decked head to toe in John Cena gear.
The wristbands, the hat, the shirt, the whole shebang. So when John stopped with us and then kept walking, all of a sudden he's like,
Yeah, so...
It's like, well, maybe if you weren't spending so much time trying to be the cool guy and talk shit, you would have been able to have that moment.
Absolutely. So I just want to give
get off my soapbox.
Yes, I want to give credit to the crowd last night. I mean, everybody was so positive and cool and into the show and into every moment. Like I said, everybody was in that moment with me. At least it felt like to me. Maybe.
I looked around. I watched it.
And everybody was just like, it was so cool, and it was such a cool moment. Thanks, Mark.
Well, we
appreciate you, brother.
As the more local shows we go to around here, I realize that we actually have a really good community with the PWX shows and other shows that I haven't heard of, just overhearing people in line talking about, and how everybody kind of gets to know each other. Like I met a photographer that I just happened to follow because I saw him at a PWX show.
Yeah, I had a really nice conversation with him.
And he noticed me from Instagram. He was like, "You like all my stuff?" And I was like, "I do."
How can they check this gentleman out and check out his work?
Yes, his first name's Rob. I can't remember his last name. His Instagram handle used to be Robo Gigante, but now it's Fisticuffs Photography. He's also on Facebook, I just discovered, and now we're friends.
Yeah, and that's really what I love about the independent wrestling community and the independent wrestling scene is you can make friends just by like, hey, you take pictures of this stuff that I love, and I love that. Hey, we have a lot of, and you can build a conversation, a relationship, and it's so great.
I guess the moral of this little mid video segment is don't limit yourself to WWE. There's a lot out there, and you can just really have some fun.
Absolutely.
If you like pro wrestling in all of its glory, find your local promotions and just enjoy them.
Yeah. Mark and Roddy had a great match.
Had a great match. It was Roddy's go-home match, I guess you could say, for the brand.
For the pay-per-view, at least, because he has a match on the television tapings, but he put Mark over really strong. It was such a great match. It was such a really cool moment, too, because they've often billed Mark as, the baby Briscoe, the one he's not Jay, but this really felt like they're going to start taking steps with Mark to start elevating him.
Yeah, showcasing him on his own.
Absolutely.
They're both great, and it's good to see them work apart.
Yeah, I would really like to see Mark, start pursuing a singles title, get a push, get a run with that. I think that'd be really, really cool. Obviously, that would ultimately, if this were WWE at least, build towards a Briscoe versus Briscoe.
Right.
I'm not really...
Kind of like they did with the Bella Twins.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's, classic. I personally don't have interest in seeing that. I like them as a team. Mm-hmm. I think they could have a great match against one another. I don't have interest in that. I would just like to see go separate ways, but they keep winning tag belts together. I think it would be awesome.
Right.
But excellent match. Thanks, Mark. Happy to help you, brother.
Speaking of funny spots, he comes out, beanie, full head of hair, full beard. Roddy grabs his ponytail, and that's not his hair.
I've been bald this whole time, baby. I'm ahead of you. It was great. Mark blends, comedy so well into what he does, but he's still a badass, even though he does
redneck kung fu.
It's fantastic. Can't say enough good things about Mark Briscoe.
Always entertaining.
Yeah, was happy to help you not fall on your head and get hurt. Thank you for making me a member of Dim Boys. Bang bang.
Moving on to the match that probably exhausted the crowd the most, because we were on our feet, we're beating the barrier, we're screaming, we're clapping, we're taking pictures, we're chanting, and oh my god, it just never ended. It was the Bullet Club, the Young Bucks and Adam Cole,
Baby!
And War Machine and Moose.
Or, as we were calling it, War Moose
Machine.
Sheen. Yeah, this match, I'm exhausted thinking about it right now. This was absolutely crazy.
Start to finish, I don't even know if the bell ever rang. They just...
I don't remember if it did.
They came out, War Machine came out first, Bullet Club came out second, a triple super kick, and...
We were off and running. It was... I can't even point to any particular moment within the match because it was literally just up here the whole time. It was high spot after high spot. I do want to put an apology out. I didn't say this on camera, but I said this when we were talking about it. You know, when we were talking about the matches we were looking forward to. She was really looking forward to this match. I was like, you know, I don't know. Yes, Moose is incredibly athletic and impressive, and I'm excited about that. I don't know. You know, it feels like a mismatch to me in terms of high spots and what War Machine's going to be able to do with the Bullet Club. I was completely 100% wrong. War Machine was awesome. You know, the spots they did was incredible.
They
Holy crap.
They kept up, and it was because we've seen War Machine before, and maybe it was a little bit lackluster, but this time it was just over the top, and they were. It was. I don't even know how to describe this match because it was just.
Watch it. That's how we describe this match. Go watch it.
Pay-per-view, buy the DVD, watch it.
Bye.
If you can even appreciate it on DVD, because there was one point in time where Moose and Adam Cole were over on the barriers, and War Machine and the Young Bucks were up on the stage.
Yeah. It was
like each, depending on where you were in the crowd, you got a different show.
Yeah, it was.
It was just non-stop action. There was no tagging. There was no waiting on the turnbuckle.
Yeah.
It was somebody is kicking your ass, or you are kicking somebody's ass the entire time.
I had Matt Jackson.
Kicks, super kicks.
Yeah, I had Matt Jackson almost fall into my lap again.
Right.
That's what I love about, you know, the different vibe from a WWE show. And this is not anti-WWE or NXT by any means. It's just you can do certain things with like an ROH show or an indie show that you can't do with those shows, like having somebody almost fall into your lap or have them actually fall into you, which we did see. Great match. You know, the Bullet Club went over. I was impressed that they got Moose up for the Meltzer driver. That was really, really cool. So much fun with this match. The crowd was into it 100%. They took us up, and we stayed up with them the whole time. I especially loved the pin at the end where they're giving Adam Cole a kiss.
Adam Cole's getting the pin, and both of the Bucks are kissing both cheeks.
I love the chemistry they have with Adam. That, you know, they are really good friends with him outside the ring. They do stuff with him in PWG. I think this is one of the best things they've done with Adam Cole in ROH is adding him into the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
Great match. Moose and War Machine, it was great. I feel like this might be one of the last times we see Moose in ROH, as it's rumored he is heading out, rumored to be towards NXT.
I was going to say, I guess we'll see whenever Pro Wrestling Tees says, oh, we're not selling his shirt past this date, buy him now. And it's like, I wonder why.
But that guy's a super talent. He's
put
awesome.
so much work into these few years that he's even been in the business, and he is just taken off. I love him. I can't wait to see where his career goes.
Absolutely. For a guy who was a football player and said, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to go be a pro wrestler, and he didn't go the normal route that a lot of guys do in going to WWE in their developmental. No, he went to Ring of Honor and PWX and developed and grew there. That's a love for this business. That's a guy who's like, I'm not in this for the money, I'm in it because I love it. So, really excited for Moose. Moose. I do feel really bad for the next match because, like we said, the crowd was zapped emotionally, physically. We were exhausted. That was the Addiction versus the Motor City Machine Guns. It was a great match.
It was still
a really great match.
We're all sitting in our chairs like,
it was really cool. Fun match, but yeah, man, you could have put any match after the tornado tag, it wouldn't have mattered. That crowd was wiped out because of just I'm still exhausted thinking about it, but, you know, I will say that it was a little weird. I don't know how it played out when you saw it on television, but live it was a really weird ending to it because Jay White, you know, formerly of New Japan, was in the front row. He was a few spots down from us. You know, Kamatachi came down and, like, pulled him out, and
everybody was like, "Who is that? What is happening?"
Yeah, it took me a minute to realize. I was like, "Why is he attacking a fan?" Like, and then I realized, oh, it's Jay White, because I had forgotten he recently left New Japan to come to ROH. And they kind of got in the ring, and there was a little bit of a, you know, crossing the streams a bit in terms of what. So I don't know if it plays out better on TV. Live, it was really confusing and really weird to see.
Yeah.
I was watching them fight while the Addiction was hitting their finish on the, I believe it was on the Saban. I think it was, I don't know, I can't remember because I was
they were literally right in front of us fighting, so I was like...
Yeah, but it was a really strong match. It was kind of your classic tag match, which I think the Addiction, you know, Kazarian and Daniels are such a good team, such great chemistry together in terms of being that heel team and working that style. Motor City Machine Guns are a great team as well. So it was a really nice, good classic tag match. Really solid, really funky end, at least from our perspective. Maybe it played out differently, but we were also very exhausted.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
And speaking of...
Exhaustion,
we had a match without honor.
A fight without honor. This was something they have been building for quite a while.
Yep.
We saw this the last time they came to Charlotte, where they were building up towards it with their television tapings. Steve Corino against BJ Whitmer. Yeah, this was brutal, man. This was your classic
this was an
ECW.
ECW, yeah, like classic ECW. It was unreal, and you know, I guess I'm kind of a noob to the business compared to a lot of people, but I had no idea that Steve Corino wrestled in ECW. I had seen his matches, like I had seen the Dusty Bull Rope match.
Yeah.
It just never clicked for me because he was, you know, he's this asshole manager on the outside of the ring. He's Colby's dad, and he's a dick. You know, I was like, oh, he's Jim Cornette. I just never, it never occurred to me that he was this hardcore legend.
Yeah, Corino was great. The crowd popped really hard when he came out in a beanie. He pulls the beanie off to reveal the dyed blonde hair, which is kind of a signature look that he was known for. So I
got his eye black underneath.
Yeah, I freaked out. Crowd freaked out. It was.
Oh, and I see this, and awesome. I'm like, that's not Steve Corino. And, you know, glasses, tie, facial hair, and then he comes out, and I'm like, oh my god, he was somebody, wasn't he?
I really liked his entrance where he came down and they're holding the chairs and he's walking under the chairs.
Ceremony.
That was so cool. We were actually sitting, I was sitting next to a guy that I assume works in the federation that Steve owns and runs, PWF, which runs a lot of shows in Jacksonville, which the guy beside me told me they had a ringside doctor. He said that guy is the president of our company, you know, that Steve runs. So that was kind of cool that they incorporated that, and it was also really cool. This guy clearly knew Steve, at least on like a personal level or a different level, to see his reactions to some of the spots that were happening. Yeah. This table spot, he was genuinely concerned, which of course you are concerned because that was a rough spot, but he was legitimately like, wow. And there was a lot of, come on, Steve! Like, it was, so that was really cool to see that and having, like, a little bit of conversation with that guy during the course of this match and before and after this match. That's awesome. See it. Yeah, it was really neat. It was a great match. Awesome spots where Steve busts Whitmer open and he grabs the bottle of alcohol and pours it all over him.
Doctor's bag.
Oh, that was great. And he gets the sock, loaded sock.
He pulls out coins from under a bag of coins from under the ring, takes off his own sock, fills it with the coins, and starts beating him with the coins. Somehow it explodes, and the coins go everywhere. And actually, there it is. There it is. This is from that sock. We got a quarter from that sock.
There were a few coins that were around.
A hard quarter, if you will.
Ah, yes. There were a few coins that were covered with Steve's blood. It was crazy. A crazy ending to the match as well. Again, I'm interested to watch it back and see how it plays out, because live it was a little weird.
Yeah, I would like to hear what like the commentators were saying about it.
But the Taskmaster, Kevin Sullivan...
Yeah, the lights go down, the arena's black, and the lights come back up, and there's this hooded figure in the ring.
And I was like, what the hell is Kevin Sullivan doing here? I did forget that he does have ties to both Steve and BJ Whitmer in terms of history. We were thinking it was going to be Colby. And a lot of people around us, too, that were aware of the feud were like, it's got to be Colby. Yeah, Colby's coming. And they didn't, which was kind of cool that they didn't. But my first thought was, what the hell is Kevin Sullivan doing here? I think I said that, too. And a few other people were like, it's the Taskmaster.
And he spikes Carino in the head. And
I chose my favorite son, Steve, in that thick Boston accent that Kevin has.
He had his facial hair all like designed and
everything. It was a really, really cool match. I'm always a big fan of how Ring of Honor approaches the fights without honor, because they're used sparingly, and they're used for these big, long, epic stories, and the payoff is always great.
The culmination.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. I really, really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, because as we've said before, we're not like, backyard wrestling, barbed wire, fluorescent tubes, like gore horror junkies. But when it's used right, it is a beautiful thing. Absolutely.
It's the one reason why I love Mick Foley the way I do, because, as she said, not fans of death matches or extreme hardcore wrestling, but when you use those elements in terms of telling a good story, it's fantastic. That's why I love Mick, because Mick, his whole career he used it to tell great stories. Yep. Speaking of great stories, I really enjoyed Bobby Fish and Dalton Castle for the TV title. I want it all.
Party Peacock.
Solid match.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. It was so different, and I think that's what I loved about this card overall, is so many of the matches, it's kind of a flavor for everyone.
Yeah, it really was. It really was. They're like, yeah.
Yeah. To see the reactions that Dalton Castle gets, it's no secret why he was in this television title match. I actually thought he was going to win, because I felt like it's time.
It's time to put a belt on him. Yeah. Listen to this crowd.
He's ready. The crowd was there with him, and the crowd was really behind Bobby Fish as well.
Yeah, it was a very 50-50, Dalton Castle, Bobby Fish.
But it was a strong match, and Bobby kind of won with that classic, reversal roll-up match to get the 1, 2, 3, because Dalton was it was a bust-ass, solid wrestling match. Was not a lot of high spots.
Right.
It was more of a technical, mat-based match, kind of like we saw with O'Reilly and Kamatachi.
Yeah.
And again, it's a different style, whereas Kyle's was more hard-hitting. Bobby's felt a little bit more heavy on the psychology, and it felt different than that match, although there are a lot of similarities, because Bobby works in that MMA kind of shoot-fight type style. Yeah. But it plays differently to me, I think. But
and shout out to the boys for fanning up.
Yeah, they. I think they are such a great addition to every Dalton Castle match. A lot of people could say that they distract. I completely disagree.
Well, I feel like they time it well, because they watch the match, and when there is a lull, like when they're both knocked out or something, there they come.
Yeah.
Fanning, jumping, keeping the energy, and like when Dalton does a good move or something, they're like, ah!
Yeah, it was really strong, and I'm really interested to see where this feud is going to go. I would really like to see another match between, because I really enjoyed it. This, I believe, was actually the longest match of the night as well. Yeah. I think they gave them the most time, which is really cool. And again, solid match. Really excited to see where they're going to go with that. But that led us into
the main event
of the evening between Jay Briscoe, Jay Lethal 2. Wow. Oh, wow.
Because these are like the two most intense guys in the brand. Two of the most intense guys in the business right now. Like,
and it's a really cool moment where the two guys in your main event are the two guys that the crowd is the most behind.
Yep.
There were no boos for either man. I don't know, that's not true. There was like one or two people that would try and get like a Lethal, you suck, or whatever.
We even had a both these Jays.
Yeah, which was really fun. But just the intensity that Jay Briscoe brings, he is the embodiment of the character, this tough badass. You look in his eyes, he believes it. It's almost a little intimidating to see.
If you can look in his eyes.
But, everybody was cheering for Jay Briscoe. Everybody was cheering for Jay Lethal. Obviously, it's a little clear of who I was cheering for. But so solid. And when, they did one of my favorite things in wrestling, which is the stolen finisher. When Jay Briscoe hit the lethal injection on Lethal, I thought that roof was going to come off because that crowd went insane.
It was unreal.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. It was a really solid match, super powerful. I really kind of thought Lethal was going to lose, but again, Jay Lethal showing he is the best in the world. Like we said, got an opportunity to meet Jay. Super cool guy, super great. Everybody was really nice. This is probably the best experience we have had at a live event.
Events, yeah.
Yeah, I was going all over.
All over, yeah.
It's really close.
It's up there.
I mean, we have done a VIP experience with WWE, which was fantastic.
Dreamlike.
It's so close. It's so close. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed it. We encourage you, watch ROH, reach out, look out there, find the indie federations in your town.
Yeah.
Indie wrestling is amazing for any fan.
And you never know who you're going to see in ROH. A lot of the PWX guys that we see are actually Ring of Honor wrestlers.
Yep.
The first time we saw Moose, he was PWX.
Yep, working with PWX.
That's awesome.
Cedric Alexander, Charlotte Boy, works ROH now in the Cruiserweight Classic, which is so awesome to see. Really love Cedric. Thanks guys for tuning in again. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment,
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Reach out. Let us know what you guys thought of the show. As always, I'm Mick.
I'm Courtney.
If you're going to be a fan,
bring a friend.